I think what's happening now in Egypt in the COP27 is going to fail like they always fail because they're trying to manage three objectives: climate, growth, and equity. And you can't solve for three things in one conference. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, no, you can't have equity of a race towards non-sustainability. You know, it's just the wrong place to go. And I remember a cartoon that was made when I talked about, everyone sitting on the branch and saying, I'm going to chop it up faster. And, that model of equity is basically a race towards the same destination of death and extinction. And that cannot possibly be a true meaning of equity. Equity has to be rooted both in the ecological fabric and the web of life and the earth family. And it has to be rooted in not the consumerism that has become the model of being human, but living within the limits that the earth provides for us and living a good life within those limits. Because, I've lived in a pre-industrial India. I have lived in a pre-fossil fuel India. I've lived in a we were called backward because we didn't have plastic. And the World Bank gave money, bring plastics. Now we got plastic pollution. Then they said they don't have pesticides. They're backward. They brought us pesticides. Now we got cancer deaths. And I can tell you, when you measure true quality of life, how happy are people? How much is the twinkle in their eye? How much do they smile at each other? Those are the true human indicators. How much are they able to cooperate? We've seen climate disasters. In a village community, they'll get displaced, the hut will be washed off. Cyclone is gone, they come right back and help each other build each other's huts.
So do you see twinkle in people's eyes and smiling in your city and community in India now relative to the past? Or
No, it's gone down. When I went to do my PhD in Canada, and everyone, oh, you poor things, you from poor countries, and they'd give me these long lectures. And my basic argument was, even on the street, people have community. And even on the street, people have a twinkle in their eye. If there's one thing greed has taken away from human beings, it's the twinkle in the eye.
Hmm. So you also wrote a book called Soil, Not Oil. I don't think we're going to be able to cover all your books on this call, but in the book, you championed the potential of self-organizing community propelled by human energy, in other words, work, in contrast to the energy slaves from fossil fuels that you just mentioned, and the creativity by this community in contrast to top-down solutions by policy and growth. Can you summarize this, and what is the potential? My work, which is just superficial compared to yours on this topic, is Haber-Bosch and nitrogen fertilizers have increased the amount of food globally. We could replace a good part of that, but it would take a lot more time and human labor, taking them away from other jobs. So can you explain this and expand on it?
Yeah. I don't really agree that Haber-Bosch increased the availability of food. They increased the production of commodities. It's a very different issue. The minute you get synthetic fertilizers, you have to turn a biodiverse system with 12 crops and 9 crops and 7 crops into a monoculture to match the chemical inputs. Not only is the plant changed into a dwarf plant, but diversity is replaced for monocultures to fit into the chemical package. So my work all these years has now shown me, one, when you measure biodiversity in terms of nutrition and the biodiversity itself, you actually produce much more nutrition per acre. So we we worked out an indicator. We said yield per acre measures commodities, monocultures leaving for the ships, whereas nutrition per acre measures how much nourishment there is in the plants. So far, we've done it with the soil, the soil is richer, the nutrition in the plants is richer, and now new research is showing that the harbor bosch commodity is nutritionally empty commodity. It has absolutely no phytochemicals, it has no zinc, and that's why there's zinc deficiencies, magnesium deficiencies, all kinds of deficiencies are growing. So if you treat food as that which nourishes us, then we haven't grown more food. We have definitely grown more trade and more movement of commodities. But commodities are not food. So Haber Bosch did not. I mean, that to me, as a scientist, the wrong measure. Like growth is a wrong measure of how well the economy is doing and how well people are doing.